Good morning and welcome to our mind body recovery today. My name is Jenna with the JCC. And this morning, you're not going to need any equipment. Sometimes we'll use mobility balls or foam rollers, tennis balls, racket balls, those kinds of things. Other times we'll use stretchy bands or straps for stretching. Today, we don't need anything. So we are going to start in a standing position here. And let's go ahead and just take a big breath in and release it out, pressing those arms down. Today is just going to be about refreshing your body, kind of doing a little reset, especially those of us that really like to do a lot of cardio and running around and jumping and strength training, all those good things. It's just a great habit to get into, to take a day of recovery and refresh with those things and just move that body through, find those tight spots and staying on top of them. I know we do a little bit at the end of each workout, but it's important to really be able to dig deeper and find those improvements. So let's go ahead and come all the way down and let your body hang. If you feel a little bit more comfortable, you can rest your hands onto your knees here. Or let those arms just flow towards the ground. And I'm just moving my hips around side to side. Maybe you want to keep your hips a little still right now and go side to side with your upper body. Just breathing through this. And let's bring it up again to a standing position. We're going to take our legs out really wide and turning those toes slightly in, taking a big breath in again. And then bring it down and let that body hang. And we're going to walk our hands over to one side and just kind of hug that leg or just let the body fall to that one side. Always taking a check-in, like the differences from one side to the other and how the back is feeling or the hips and the legs. Start to walk it over or move it over to the other side, either hugging that leg or just letting the arms hang here. Keep going. I'm just going to check if there's anyone waiting to get in. No, okay. And let's try to make a move to the center here, letting that body hang through the center. If you feel comfortable, you can grab the back sides of your ankles or your lower legs and then start to just gently pull your body towards the wall behind you and then push the body away from there, kind of going in and out of that motion, or just work on hanging. And we're going to stay with those legs nice and wide and bend your knees so you can get your fingertips onto the ground. We're going to start to walk one leg out a little further and you're going to shift your weight towards the other leg and rotate that toe and the knee out. So start to shift your weight over that side so you should feel a nice lengthening through that inner thigh. Walking your hands forward if you need to or coming closer towards your body. And we're going to walk one hand over the other, turn the toes out on this side now, sinking down as low as your hip will allow you to. Just trying to let go of this lower leg and let the heel sink towards the ground. Try not to hold yourself up, just let everything sink. Let's continue to walk carefully side to side. Remember, your hands can be out further if that feels a little bit better for you. And continue to breathe as you're moving side to side. Maybe you want to turn that foot up a little bit and go back to the other side, or keep it grounded. Your body will let you know if it likes something or not. You can come up a little higher if you need to. If it's a little bit too much to stay that low, shifting side to side as well. And go ahead and bring it back to the center. Bend those knees, place the hands on your thighs, and go ahead and bring yourself up. And you're gonna walk those feet in just a little bit. Toes and knees are still out. Hands will rest on your thighs. And let's just gently drop the shoulder towards the floor, feeling an opening through the front of that shoulder and the chest. And we'll bring it all the way back up again, coming to a standing position. Inhaling up. Exhale those arms back down, and let's find a spot where our hands can rest on the back of our hips, glutes. And you're gonna work on opening up that chest to the front of the room, pinning those shoulder blades or those elbows close together. Thinking about lifting through the chest and taking your gaze out to the ceiling or the wall in front of you. We're avoiding letting that head drop backwards. So just a forward focus. And contract those glutes to try to push your hips forward towards your toes. And bring it back up on your next exhale. Inhale with an arm reach. And let's go ahead and grab one wrist. So maybe grabbing your left wrist with your right hand. And we're going to come all the way over to your right side. Another deep breath in. And exhale. Just let that body open up on that left side. Coming all the way up. And we're going to grab the opposite wrist. So you're grabbing your right wrist now, going over to your left. Just let everything fall off to your right. And bringing it back up. Let's bring those hands behind our back again. Pressing the hands into the hips. Opening up once again. If you feel comfortable this time, you can experiment with one arm coming up and back, reaching to the wall behind you, not forcing anything here. Contracting your glutes to really strengthen or support your back. And we'll bring it up on your next exhale. Inhale to hold. And then your next exhale, you can experiment with the other arm or just keep both hands back there on your hip. Opening up, lifting through the chest. That hand goes to the wall behind you. And then bring everything back up on your next exhale. Let's just do one more forward fold. Inhale up. Exhale, bring those arms down and just let the body hang here. Every exhale, you're just playing around and seeing if you can get your chest or your trunk to get a little closer towards your legs. You can bend and extend your knees a little bit at a time here. Just playing around, waking up those tissues, paying attention to seeing where they're tight. Roll it on up to a standing position. Good. And we're going to bring ourselves down to the ground now. And we're going to begin on our hands and our knees. All right. So just resting those lower legs, and I want you to take one hand out to the side, kind of as a wider kickstand. This other arm is going to thread underneath, and we're just going to continue to come in and out of that. Now, after you come out, you're going to take that hand behind your head, and you're going to work on pressing through this arm and rotating through your waistline. So you'll reach underneath and then twist through your waistline to open up to the other side of the room. Continue to go in and out of this as fast or as slow as you want. Ideally, the slower you go through it, you're going to be able to stop at a point where you feel some tightness and maybe just gently push through that a little bit. Continue your breathing here. On this next one, we're gonna hold our arm reach, and we're gonna let the side of the head and the side of the shoulder rest on the ground. That other hand can come a little bit closer towards your hand, and you're pressing through the palm of the hand that's on the ground. Now we're trying to get the top shoulder to stack on top of that bottom one. And pressing through that arm, coming back up. We're going to repeat that same thing on the other side. So take the other hand a little bit wider, secure yourself in your kneeling stance, and we're reaching under and then coming out, pressing through the hand that's on the ground to twist open. Breathe through it. Each time, maybe twisting just a little bit further, reaching a little bit further. Good, and on this next one, we're gonna go ahead and hold that thread through the side of the head and the shoulder on the ground, and you're pressing your top hand into the floor to get that top shoulder to come over the bottom. And breathe through this. And pressing and coming back up to all fours here. So let's start with a nice narrow stance. We're bringing our knees and our ankles, feet together, and we're going to work on gently sitting back into those lower legs, paying attention to the knees. Some of you might find it more comfortable to roll up a towel if you have it nearby, or just throw a little pillow between your upper leg and your lower leg. But I just want us to rock back and forth here. Go ahead and let your back round over, whatever it wants to do. We're going to now change the positioning of those thighs, and we're going to take them a little bit wider. So the knees will move, pointing towards the outside edge of your mat, just a little wider. Toes are still together. And let's go ahead and continue to sit back into this one. This time as you sit back, I want you to see if you can get a little bit more of a reach through the arms and extend that back a little bit more. And then we can come back up again, and only just play around with this. Come forward a little bit and see what that feels like in the front of your pelvis. So just kind of let it drop a little bit. And then walk it back and push. Hips are going towards your heels. And again, bringing those hips forward. We're not spending a lot of time here. And back one more time. And forward. Good. Oh, that feels good on the back today. And bringing it up. Let's stay once again on our hands and our knees, opening them up again to about hip width apart. And we're just going to go ahead and start to wag our tail, okay, like we're a dog, from side to side, okay? So one side to the other. Tuck my shirt in so you can see what the heck's going on there. There you go, wagging side to side. Feeling the body just open up, maybe on the outside of the hip, ribs, wherever your body's tight. And try to play around with your pelvis now by bringing it forward and back. Forward and back. Keep breathing. All right, so we're gonna change our position a little bit. I want us to bring our right leg forward. We'll all be on the same leg so I can cue the same thing. Still resting that back knee on the ground and just relaxing that foot. You're gonna work on shifting your weight forward, using this front thigh for a little bit of stability, and then shift back. And as you shift back, I want you to bring those fingers to the floor, working on straightening the knee, and that toe can peel up off the ground. And let's rock back and forth from that, shifting forward. If you need something to stabilize, maybe bring yourself by a couch or chair or something, fingertips on the ground, shifting back. Let's go in and out of that, forward and back. You'll use those arms for support here. Forward, one more time, and back. So we're going to stay forward, but this time our right toe and our right knee is going to open up and turn out to the side. Just give us a little bit better angle here. Our hands will come down to the inside of our right leg. We're still relaxing that left hip, okay? So from here, we're keeping this position. I want you to sink, your left hand stays on the ground, your right hand goes to your thigh. You're going to rotate and you're going to sink into that left hip. Okay, coming down. You might even roll to the outside of this right foot. And then come back. And you're going to take your right forearm and you're going to bring it towards the ground. Now, if it doesn't quite want to go there, just take a step out with your left hand and then work on bringing your right forearm to the ground. And then we're going to walk it back in again. We're going to go in and out of those a few times. So I'm just going to let you play around with this. You don't have to stay with me. You might want to stay in one position a little bit longer than the other. I'm pretty tight today, so I'm going to continue to walk my left hand away from my right leg when I bring that right forearm to the ground. I bet you're feeling where everything is tight today. Just gently moving in and out of it, not expecting any miracle, flexibility, earth-shattering records to happen. We're just loosening those tissues up. Good. Let's go ahead and switch that to the other leg. So our left leg's going to be forward and our right leg is behind here, okay? So we're in that nice low lunge and you can drive your hip forward, resting here on the thigh. And then we're gonna shift back, fingertips onto the ground, and you can shift the hips while the toe of the left foot comes up. We're shifting back and forth into this. Forward, just releasing everything, letting gravity do its job, and shifting back with the toes turning up. And again, driving forward, and shifting back. This time, we're going to keep everything forward, and you're going to turn your left toe out to the side a little bit. Okay, right hand will go off away from the left foot. You're going to rotate towards your left leg and then bring that outside of that right hip towards the ground. And switch. So now you might want to walk that right hand away and bring in your left forearm down towards the ground. Breathe through it. And again, you are going to go at your own pace, in and out of this for a few more. Over time, what you want to feel, if we're focusing in on these different mobility exercises, is that you start to feel a little bit more equal from one side to the other. There's a major difference. We know all of that is going to play factor in how aligned our body really is. So you can certainly go to the chiropractor and get some wonderful adjustments, but if we don't stay on top of our mobilizing of our soft tissues, all those misalignments are just going to pull those bones right back to where they want, where the muscles are pulling them. All right, let's go ahead and bring ourselves to a seated position here. Seated position, I'm actually, going to go ahead and face my legs towards you. So we're going to go ahead and place one hand out to the side of your hip, and the other hand will come behind your head, right? And you're going to work on bringing that elbow towards the ground and keep pulling this whole side. Try not to round over. Just keep maybe you're able to get the elbow all the way to the ground. And if so, go ahead and start extending that top arm and drop the head as well. And bringing it up, we'll go to that other side. And again, you just stop wherever you can. Maybe this is as far as you can get that elbow down. Don't force it down, but slowly lower until your body says that's it. And then we're going to add that extension of that arm and let your head drop. Let's come back to the other side. Arm out, hand behind your head. Bring the elbow towards the floor. Let the head drop, add the arm extension. And bringing it up again. One more time on this side. Elbow down. Extend the arm, let the head drop. And bring it back up. Good. So we're going to go ahead and lay onto our back and do some hip circles here to start with. So we're going to do lots of different motions. So just keeping your right foot on the ground. Okay, arms can just relax at your side. All I want you to do is start flexing at the left hip, using the muscles to bring the thigh towards your rib cage and gently placing that foot back on the ground. Good. On this next one, we'll relax and put that left foot on the ground. And now you're just going to let your knee open up to the outside, and you're rolling onto the outside of that left foot. So let it go out to the side and then back up. The right leg is just bent, knees bent, right? Just hanging out there for a while. All right, so we're going to go ahead and combine those two. So if you have some sacral issues or sciatic or something, these are really great things for you to be doing every day. Pulling that thigh in with your muscles, and now you're going to rotate out to the side, keeping that foot facing the left or the right thigh. And now you're going to start to try to lower it to the ground, and then wherever it wants to stop. And then you're going to work on pushing the heel away, rotating the knee towards the ceiling as that leg goes straight. Pull in, rotate it out, start to lower it down with it rotated out as low as your leg or thigh hip will let you go. And then extend that leg, bringing it back into neutral. Let's continue to go through that motion. Good. If you have some catching in the front of your hip or across your pelvis area here, right? You possibly could have some good misalignment, some tight origin insertion of these pelvic muscles, but this is a great way to start to get them to move better. Out to the side, drop it wide, and bring it forward. Good. All right, let's go to that other side. And I'm just gonna actually do this in a different position so we can all see. So we're just starting with bringing our thigh towards our rib cage here. Thigh to the rib cage. Gently placing that foot onto the ground. All right, let's place that right foot on the ground, leave it there, and just let the right thigh open up to the side and then back up. So the knee goes to the right and then back to the ceiling. Just rolling onto the outside of that right foot. Again, we're just doing this nice and slow so that we can really pay attention to what's happening. And maybe this is where my leg wants to stop. And now because I'm going slow, I can maybe just inch it out a little bit further, but respecting those muscles so that you can really start to enhance their function. So let's add those two together again. So we're pulling that right thigh in. We're now going to rotate the knee to the side of the room, the foot to the inside of the left leg. We're going to continue that rotation and lower it towards the ground using those muscles in the back of your hip. And then press that leg away to a neutral position, knee towards the ceiling. Pull it back in, rotate the knee to the side, lower it to the ground, press it away. Continue to go through this motion, trying to make sure you're not holding your breath. Make sure you just let that breath happen. I know I don't have any relaxing music on today. I just thought we could just work on concentrating and listening to my cues and the muscles. Let's do one more here. Good. Both legs are going to stay bent. And now we're just going to let both the knees fall out to the side. So the bottoms of your feet will come together. Just let those legs fall out. And some nice refreshing inhales and exhales here. On your next inhale, I want you to reach towards the ceiling with your fingers. Continue to reach those arms up and out and bring them to the wall behind you. Open up with a big inhale, expand that rib cage. Go ahead and let your back arch. And on your exhale, your hands will come back towards the ceiling and your legs will come off the ground and you're going to reach down and grab your outside of your lower leg and just round over. Inhale, reaching everything away from the feet and hands, away from each other. Exhale, curl it all in, grab those legs. If you're able to, grab underneath and pull in a little bit more, tucking that chin. Continue to go in and out of this as slow as you would like, using your breath, grabbing either on top or under the lower legs. One more. Good. And relax those feet back on the ground again. Arms at your side. I want you to extend your right leg long on the ground, okay? Your left leg, you're gonna start to make circles with your knee. So we're gonna keep our knee bent. We're gonna bring it over to the right side as our toes move away from the ground. And then we're gonna make a big circle around, keeping our knee bent at this particular point. Go nice and slow and controlled. Now, because we're not pulling on our leg and we're not pushing it with our arms, we're using all of your hip muscle or quad, thigh, all of it, glutes, everything that crosses over the hips, we're using to move that thigh. So you're actually strengthening some of the muscles as well. We're gonna go the other direction, okay? So going out and around and then pulling that knee in towards the left side of the chest, opening it out to the side, pulling it around. Feels much different. Basically, you're taking your hamstring out of the picture here. The hamstring is contracted right now, so we don't have to worry about how flexible it is, right? So you're able to get a much bigger hip circle than if our leg was straight. Feels a little more therapeutic. So let's go ahead and extend your left leg onto the floor. And we'll go toward into that right one. So pulling that right, letting that right knee fall towards your left, okay? And then pulling it in towards your chest, pushing it away to the right wall, and then bringing it around. And again, you get to go at your own pace. I'm not really giving you any cues or tips on what's happening in the rib cage because I want you to just focus in on your hips. And if that means as your right leg is going away and your rib cage is thrusting up or it's pulling, just let it happen. Don't fight it right now. I'm just letting you move in that hip socket. Because we all know if we have really tight abdominals or back muscles, that's going to also affect our hip mobility. But we're not going to fight it right now. Now we're going to change directions here. So bringing it around to the inside of the body and then letting it fall out. If you're feeling or hearing any clunking, that can be several different things happening in the pelvis area. Sometimes your sacrum, SI joint might be a little locked up, or it might be hypermobile and it might be really clunking and shifting around. It might be just this femur bone moving in the socket and kind of butting up against your pelvic area. So go ahead and relax. And we're gonna go back to the arms. I'm gonna have us keep our knees and our hips bent. And we're just gonna do a tiny little tuck through our pelvis. So what I mean by that is my fingertips are basically my pelvis right now, okay? So my wrist this is where my hip bone is. And now I'm going to tilt my pelvis so that I feel like my buns are contracted a little bit. So you should feel like your abdominals are bracing, okay? Just a tiny little tilt back and then like a bracing is going to happen. Arms are gonna reach up towards the ceiling again. We're gonna reach them to the floor behind us. We're gonna imagine we're grabbing onto a bar, like a pull-up bar, and now you're gonna pull down, like you're doing a chin-up, right? Like a pull-up. And then go ahead and extend and reach the arms up again. Continuing to hold that pelvic tilt a little bit, pull down, pull, use the muscles, and then reach up towards the ceiling. Reaching up, starting to really get in tune with those back muscles. Right? We're working on trying to bring the tricep or the outside, the upper arm to our rib cage, and then reaching up. Check your pelvic tilt, make sure you're still holding solid, reaching up. Good, and we're gonna make a little goalpost position here, where you're going to bring your fingertips up towards the ceiling and then drive the back of the hands and the wrist towards the ground. Open and close. And if you can, think about the palms going to the floor as you come forward. But this entire time, our spine is glued and pinned into the ground. I just want there to be arm motion right now. I do not want there to be this arching of the back and thrusting of the rib cage. I want the pelvis and the rib cage to be super solid and strong while you move and mobilize the shoulder. Good. All right, so we're gonna take this all off to one side. So bring your legs together and you're gonna let them fall off to one side, okay? And then you're gonna go ahead and bring the body there as well. So we're just really stacking those knees. And I want us to hang on to the outside of that top leg, okay? Just make sure you're stacked so that you can actually grab it. If you're way back here, you won't be able to grab that. You have to bring that back shoulder up here. So hanging on nice and tight, okay? Holding this position, and we're just gonna relax our head to the ground. We're taking the fingertips of the top arm and we're just letting them come around the floor. Now, if you have a really tight chest, your hand may be impossible for your fingertips to touch the floor, but the more you do this, your fingertips will touch the floor more and more. You're going to continue to circle around, thinking about bringing that right shoulder blade, or that top shoulder blade towards the floor, but not forcing anything. And then come back around the same way you got into this. So we're going to continue to go in and out of this a few times. This is a very, very, very effective. We've done this several different ways before. It might have been a long time because I've missed you guys for a few weeks. But this is a very effective way for you to gain mobility in your shoulder, in your chest, in your back, in your hips, all simultaneously. While the hips aren't moving, you can definitely feel that stretch in the top back side there of that top hip. And again, we're not forcing the fingertips to go to the ground. We're just letting the arm, the weight of the arm, pull on the chest muscles and the shoulder muscles. And now, one thing I didn't think about is if your head doesn't go to the ground, you might want to put a little something underneath your head. That means your neck is extremely tight as well. Good. And we're going to actually push to that top arm. Actually, stay down here, stay down here, stay down here. Just rest your head. I wanted to do a little hip opener. We're going to grab the top shin and we're going to bring that knee back in alignment with our hip. And we're just moving in and out of this here. Opening and closing through the front side of that top hip. Feel a nice stretch all the way down through those quads. Remember these big thigh, these big quad muscles, right? They originate up here on your hip and they come down and they go all the way down to the front side of your knee. And they extend your knee and they flex your hip. Opening and closing. Good. On this next one, we're gonna hold it back and you're gonna take your bottom foot and try to find the heel, let the heel rest on the outside of the knee, and the weight of that foot is gonna pull on that outside of that thigh in your hip area. Good work. Release that. Now we can flip over to our other side. So we're gonna stack those knees and those hips. We're grabbing the top of the top thigh, reaching those fingertips around, and relax the head on the ground or put something underneath you if you need to, okay? Try to stack the shoulders a little bit here. And then get those fingertips wherever they can and let them float around. Again, you just got done doing that other side, so pay attention to what this side feels like. I'm running into my thing there. You can hold it in any position. Maybe you want to just chill out here for a couple breaths. And then continue your circle. So you don't have to necessarily continue a fluid motion. You can stop anywhere. But keep breathing. I'm trying to exaggerate my breath, or not exaggerate, but make my breath a little audible. So encouraging you to inhale and then a nice long exhale, either through your nose or through your mouth. This is one of my favorites to do because it's so effective. Just do a couple more here. Good. All right, so we're going to stay on this side, but you're going to grab your lower leg, either at the knee or the ankle, whatever you can, preferably the ankle if you're able to, but I know not everyone's able to get their knee bent that much. And then you're going to work on bringing your knee back so it's level with that hip. And continue to move in and out of that. Let's try one more, and on this next one, you're gonna keep that knee back there, and you're gonna take that bottom heel and rest it on the outside of the thigh, and just let the weight of that lower leg weight down the top thigh, feeling it a little bit more into the outside. Good. So let's go ahead and come up to a seated position. If you're on an actual mat, you're gonna place your hips to the back long side of your mat, and then you're gonna aim your ankles to the corners of your mat or wherever your legs let you open up. I know not everyone's legs can open up to the corners of their mats, but wherever your legs say, that's enough. So now, because you're at home, you might want to take advantage of scooching your buns up against a couch or a wall as well, okay? Because that's gonna help you. You can push into your arm, your thighs, and really feel that stretch. So that's gonna be for that person that as soon as they do this, they're all rounded over here, right? Everything is so tight back in here, we can't even lengthen to sit up tall, our inner thighs and our hamstrings. So kind of play around with where you need to be sitting. So if that's the case and you're up against your couch or your wall and this is already a big stretch, you're gonna work on just staying here and breathing, maybe even putting your elbows up on your couch to try to relax into it. If you don't feel much of a stretch, that's me, I'm gonna start walking my hands forward till I feel a stretch. Inhale, exhale, I'm gonna drive my forearms to the ground. And you can also do this if you're up against the couch. It's just gonna kind of force your hips not to roll back. Your goal is to roll those hips forward, but not everyone's able to even do that part because the back is so locked up. Okay, so continuing to work on breathing and moving as you would like. We're all going to come into that upright position. We're going to rotate towards one of our legs and we're going to walk the hands down, or if just rotating and leaning a little bit is enough of a stretch, then that's where you stay. Otherwise, again, you walk to where your body says that's it. And then on my exhale, I'm going to work on sinking my forearms down just to get a little lower into that stretch. And walking it back, and we'll rotate to the other side. And again, maybe that's it. You can try to walk forward a little bit, walk with the hands, find that spot. And exhale, bring the forearms down. And bring it back up. Good. So we got a little bit of that inner thigh going on there. Let's go ahead and bring our body into that 90-90 position. So if you have not gotten into this position before, basically your back knee is at a 90-degree angle. So the ankle to knee alignment, knee to hip alignment. Same thing here, my front knee and hip, front ankle and knee. So I'm in a 90-90 position. We're gonna sit up super tall here and we're gonna rotate towards that front knee and we're gonna walk down and we're gonna aim our chest towards that front knee and just sink into this and breathe. You're gonna feel this open up through that back hip flexor and quad again, and then simultaneously into the outside of the front hip, and maybe even feeling a little pressure in that hamstring, the back of the thigh. If you can't get down to the ground, you're just holding wherever it feels okay. You can move in and out of this if you would like. Good. And walk it back. You're going to take the arm of the front leg, and you're gonna place it behind you a little bit for a kickstand. We're gonna concentrate on this hip. We're gonna roll that hip forward and push. I'm pushing down with this knee and that foot and rotating forward, feeling a nice lengthening happening here. And then I'm gonna let my hip roll back a little bit, being very gentle, because not a lot of people have good internal rotation. And then we're gonna roll here again. Let's go in and out of that a couple more times. Good. That back leg is now gonna swing around, and that foot's gonna come to the outside of the knee. Yes, eventually I'll turn us all into pretzels. Gently hugging in that front knee. So again, we were here, and you're gonna swing or pull that puppy around till that foot lands on the ground, and sit up tall and just hug that leg in. If you can slide it back a little further, great. Play around with this. It might feel comfortable to tuck that heel closer towards your seat here. And from this position, just push that top knee away, let the foot dangle gently, gently. And we're gonna go off to that other side. So we're doing a 90-90 on this side, getting everything aligned. Sitting up nice and tall, and then rotating towards that front knee and just walking forward, letting everything relax. Maybe this is it. You're using the strength of your arms, or maybe you're able to just sink down and relax. And gently pushing those hands up. You're going to take that arm of the front leg, place it behind you a little bit, okay? And you're going to go ahead and start to roll that hip forward, and then gently rolling back. Roll the hip forward and back. If you add a little trunk twist with it and continue with the trunk and look at that back arm, you're going to go a little deeper into your abdominals here and back. Let's take that back leg and start to bring it around till that foot lands on the ground. Maybe snug it back in if you're able to, and just pull in gently with that, with those arms, pull that thigh in towards your chest. And again, if you feel comfortable, you can see what happens when you bend this knee a little bit more. You might be able to get a little bit deeper stretch. And then from here, we just gently push that knee away and let that foot come off the ground. Good. All right, legs out in front. Just move those feet around, pump the ankles a little bit, shake out the legs. Relax the arms. You can bend the knees if you need to sit. Let's just do some half moon circles with that neck here at the end. Just basic stretching today, right? Mobilizing. But it feels good. You deserve it. Those muscles love you. Now, no, you didn't break a big old sweat or anything like that, but you still were really lengthening and shortening those muscles. So make sure you hydrate too, even after you do a nice recovery session. So hopefully you guys can join me again.